we go. Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Michael here again from GuitarGate. And if you watched the first video about how to start soloing part 1, welcome to part 2. If you haven't seen the first one, that's where we talk about how to start melodic soloing by trying to sound like a voice. Literally trying to get the vocal tags, the nuances that get stuck in people's ears, the earworms. And generally speaking, we start learning that stuff by staying on one string, practicing major pentatonic jumps with little minor flares around the flat 3 to give it that bluesy vocal nuance. That's where I like to have my students start. Now, once you get past that, you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to go up the neck and down the neck and over strings and do more guitar-centric things. So this is where part 2 comes into play. So what you want to do is you want to map out your chord tones on one string. Again, stay on one string. You're thinking linearly, right? You're not trying to think scalarly. You're trying to think like you would sing, or like if you're a horn, one note to the next note, not going over a pattern. And you want to focus on playing root to root, third to third, and fifth to fifth, and then combining them. Is what you're going to get is you're going to get one full scale, one full selection of notes where every single one is a chord tone. And when the chord tones are your skeleton, you are going to play melodically. You're going to play the notes that are in the chord. That's what it means to solo in a melodic way as opposed to a scalar way. So I'm playing B major to A major. So this is B mixolydian. It's, the 5 chord in E. So it's your E major scale. And this sounds like Fire on the Mountain, like Grateful Dead, right? You got B. We all know that sound. So this is a 5 chord to a 4 chord. But instead of thinking B mixolydian or A Lydian or just the key of E, what we're going to do is we're going to stay on the E string and we're just going to map out our chord tones. So let's start with B and A. B and A. Now play each one over the chord when it switches. Listen. B, A. So you're stuck there, right? You want to go up. When we go up, we're going to jump from our root position to our third position. So our cluster of our 2/3. So you got A and B are our roots. As you go up, C sharp is our third of A, and D sharp is our third of B. So here's our root cluster. Here's our third cluster. Now listen to it. Root, 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 third of A, right? Third of B, third of A, root of B, root of A, mix and match. Now obviously, you're stuck there. So what's the next section? Your 2/5. So as you go up, F sharp is the 5th of B, and E is the 5th of A. So you have root, right? Thirds, fifths. Now go through those systematically. Fifth of B, thirds, root, go back down. So 5th, F sharp, 5th of A, mix and match. So you have all of your notes of all of your roots, thirds, and fifths of the chord. So you're playing all your chord tones which exist in the chords you're playing over. Now there's one missing note. The missing note is the third of your tonic. So if you go up, you have E as the 5th of your A chord, F sharp is the 5th of your B, right? But then there's a G sharp. Remember, we're in the key of E major here, right? B is a 5 chord, A is a 4 chord, so E is 1. This G sharp is the link between going from your 5th chord tones position back to your root on A. So when you're going from F sharp up to A, this is your common jump. That gives you the entire 7-note E major scale. So what I want you to do, what I want you to practice, is fire up a jam track, get a loop pedal. I'll actually put a link in the description to a Fire on the Mountain jam track so you can just hit the button and practice it. But I want you to map out your chord tones, where your roots, where your thirds, where your fifths, on one string. And then add in that G sharp, add in that third of your tonic to connect that 5th position to your root position, right, or your 4 chord, that one missing note, and that gives you your whole scale. Once you get used to going up and down on one string, making it sing, spending time on each one, then do the same on the next string, on the B string, then on the 3rd string, then on the 4th string. Don't think patterns. Don't think caged. Just literally think, I'm going to go up and down, and I'm going to purposely land on either the root, 3rd, or 5th of the chord I'm playing over. Do this diligently. Really use your ear. Practice it. And then once you get comfortable with that, you can add in blues notes. You can add in, your typical little Jerry stuff. It's chromatic. You can jump around, but just know that when you start playing melodically, you have to force yourself to think chord tones, to think up and down, to think like you were a horn player or a voice, something where you have one note at a time and you can't think in a shape. You can't think in a pattern. You have to just think, I'm going from the 3rd of this chord to the 5th of that chord to the root of this chord to whatever. Start with 2 chords and go for it. Now, good luck, and remember, if you like my teaching style, if you like this approach, please click the link in the description. You can get all of my courses over at GuitarGate for just $10. All right, there's my little pitch. Here we go. Good luck. See you in the next one. Thirds, third of B, fifth of A, fifth, right? Here's that G sharp connecting it. So there's your second string, here's your third, third of B, third of A, root of B, root of A, fifth,